Right guys, just flying the drone along Berlin Gap, so along the White Cliffs, Eastbourne way. Looks beautiful. One way looked beautiful, the other way obviously shooting into the sun, so it wasn't brilliant. So I took it out to sea, a little way. First of all, I flew 530 metres along the coast, which is the first I've ever flown. I felt pretty safe, pretty fine. The connection was perfect. There was no loss of anything. Absolutely fine. I was level with the cliffs, the top, like the top of the cliffs, all pretty much away along, within 10 feet or so. Then I turned around, came back, absolutely fine. I then put it out to sea, at 40 metres up roughly, just under. And I was trying to go around the cliff so I could see. I didn't go around the cliffs, but I went out far enough so I could see past the cliffs to see the lighthouse further down, which I did. And then suddenly the controller just went blank, and I was like, oh shit, kind of moment. You know, I now can't see my drone. It's out at sea, hovering. Hopefully, hope it hasn't just fallen out the sky. A few seconds later, it restarted the screen, came back on, and connected again. It was fine. It was just sat there. So, has anybody had that issue? The connection was fine. So there's obviously something going on with the RC. It needs another update. So I'm going to put this in the video and actually mention it to the DJI support that have actually watched my videos already and commented on one of them. So hopefully they'll see this and actually see. Unfortunately, I wasn't recording the screen or anything like that, but anyway. Yeah, anyway, so I'm going to go and find another little spot and fly there where the water looks beautiful at the moment. It's super clear. It's like being in Greece or somewhere like that. It's amazing. So, anyway, I'm going to go and do that. I shall see you shortly. So guys, I literally took off on the beach. No troubles whatsoever. I have got a takeoff pad, but I basically used a few stones, big flat ones, to take off from. And as you can see, beautiful view. The water was very blue, very clear actually, which is not that common in the UK, especially the southeast. It's normally quite silty and everything, but because it's been so calm, all the sediment and everything sunk to the bottom, so you get this beautiful, clear, blue-looking water, and it's kind of a bit like being in Greece and Spain and places like that. So, yeah, absolutely beautiful at the moment. So it's really worth getting up there with the drones and everything like that and flying. Anyway, so I flew it along the cliffs, and I didn't really want to go much more than 500 meters because obviously we're still being a little bit aware of the possibility of range issues with the RC controller and what people are saying. Anyway, so I thought, well, okay, well, I'll take it to 500 and then I'll tweak it if I want to go a little bit further. So using the distance lock as such, you know, the maximum distance thing, I controlled it using that, and you know, it worked fine. Yeah, so beautiful view, flying along, and obviously you're supposed to keep the drone in plain sight of view. Well, at 500 meters, you can't see the Mini 3. You can't see many drones at that distance at all. So, very, very difficult kind of thing to be sensible with. Obviously, I knew where I was. I could see live still on the screen. And I thought, well, you know, it's fine. There's no other people around now. I'm flying down where there's nobody. And, you know, if anything goes wrong, it's basically going to be fine, other than I might lose the drone or whatever. So as you can see here, there was no transmission issues whatsoever. It was showing full connection all the time, no drama whatsoever. So as you can see, flew along here and just appreciated how nice it looked, and it was really stunning, the colours and everything. And I've colour graded it a little bit to bring out. I shot with the flat profile, but I have colour graded it slightly, and it looks pretty much accurate as what I could get it. Now flying back, as you can see here, you're shooting into the sun, so you get a completely different look to that view. So I'm right down the other end of where the cliffs drop down to the lowest point. You can just about see me as a dot in the distance there. There was a few people on the beach, but not very many. And as you can see there, the cliffs and everything look very different shooting into the sun. So yeah, again, no transmission issues whatsoever. So totally fine. I flew along and got back to where I was, and I thought, well, I'm going to fly out past that point, so I could see past the cliffs in the end there. You can see the lighthouse on the top of the hill, and the other side of that is where the other lighthouse is, down by the bottom of the cliffs. Very famous, and I photographed it many times. Lots of other people photograph it all the time when they're walking along the views. And I thought, well, I can see past the cliffs if I go out to sea quite a bit. So I flew out about 300 meters, and basically everything was fine, connection was fine. Like I say, no issues. I'm thinking, oh, this is great. You know, it's finally working as it should be. Absolutely brilliant. And I'm sort of thinking, right, you know, it's fine. I'm taking photos as well. And suddenly it started to lag a bit. It didn't seem to respond very well with stopping recording and then going to the camera to take photos. And I had to push it a couple of times to get it to do it. And I thought, well, is that me, or is it just because it's out to sea and it's, you know, the transmission's causing troubles from the cliffs or something like that? But it's still looking at it thinking, man, it's still got 5 bar or whatever of, you know, full connection. I thought, well, that's fine. And I carried on out a bit further so I could see really past the cliffs, which you'll see in a second. And it sort of came back to normal. I thought, okay, well, it's recording again. It's totally fine. Maybe it's just a slight glitch in the distance and stuff. So yeah, like I say, flew out to sea a bit. Like I said, I flew out to sea quite a bit. I think it was about 300 meters out, and I went further forward a little bit. So I'm still in line with. I could see myself. I could see the drone fully. You know, it was in that range. So there was no trouble at all. No trouble at all with the transmission. And yeah, I'm thinking, right, it's great. I can now see the lighthouse in the distance, if you can see it there at the bottom of the cliffs, in a sort of misty area. But I thought, well, at least I can see it. It's actually further away than I thought it was going to be, and smaller, obviously, in shot. So I thought, well, okay, that's fine. So I started flicking around with the camera and everything like that, and then this happened. And this is what I saw on my screen. It just went black. It's still showing it's on. I'm like, right. I'm 39 meters above the water. I'm a few hundred meters to 300 meters or thereabouts in the distance over the sea, and basically then it came back on. So, you know, it was interesting to say the least, because I didn't know if it had fallen out of the sky, or if it was still hovering. Was it going to return to home in a few moments? Anyway, it rebooted, I suppose, whatever happened. It showed me the connector aircraft screen, and I clicked on that, and it was straight back in. It was sitting there hovering. What felt like an eternity was probably 5 seconds or so, maybe 6. I'm not really sure. It wasn't particularly a long time, but it was a little bit scary. You're shitting your pants a little bit because you can't see what's going on. I couldn't see the drone, and yeah, I was like, oh my god, is it going to fly back? Is it gone plop in the sea? Don't know. Anyway, like I say, it came back. I was like, oh, heck of that. And yeah, so I started flying it back, like as you can see here. I was back in control with it, and it was fine. So really bizarre situation to be in. Not very fun, and I even put it up on Facebook, and a couple of the guys were like, on Facebook on the Mini 3 Pro page, were like, yeah, that's not fun. That is scary. And I'm like, yeah, it was. So yeah, wasn't particularly impressed. Anyway, today I did the new update for the firmware on the RC controller. I've also swapped over to a much faster card that came with my new GoPro Hero 10, which was a spare card that I had, and I swapped it over for the slightly slower card that was in there. I don't know if that was going to make any difference, but hopefully it also deals with any issues that may happen in the future. So yeah, all good. I shot here just quickly. I shot the 120 frames per second, looking straight down at the water. I've upscaled it to 4K, but I'm not sure it looks all that great, really. Which is a real shame, because maybe in certain situations it will, but yeah, not too sure. Water's never that easy to actually kind of display sometimes, especially high frame rates. It can cause issues. So yeah, I did try that out, and I mean, it looks smooth and everything. When I had the Air 2, and you could do up to 240 frames per second in HD, I found that fantastic. So maybe I'm just being a bit skeptical because I'm upscaled it to 4K. Not really sure, but you know, it is what it is. So I just thought I'd show you that there, guys. And there you go. I swapped it back to 4K, and as you can see, the detail has suddenly jumped into a different league. So yeah, I mean, the slow motion thing is pretty cool. I love the zoom function. Really, really cool. I know it's 2x, but that's just obviously zooming on the sensor using the megapixels to help us. But it does sometimes really give you an option to give you a slightly better view of something like the cliffs or the stairs there, you know, stuff like that. So that's really handy to have, and actually can give you a really good perspective shot. So if you've got like the steps or something like that, and you zoom in, it gives you the appearance of being closer. So when you actually cruise past it, whatever, it moves more, or your background moves more as you go past something that's closer to you. So it can give you a really good perspective kind of feel to the shots. So I've come into land. I'm thinking, right, am I going to put this down anywhere? And I thought, no, I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to do a landing on the hand, you know, catch it out of the sky kind of thing, which was a little bit scary because you never really want to lose a finger. So I went from the side, and yeah, it worked fine. I just put it down onto my hand, so totally fine. So yeah, really fine with that. There's no trouble whatsoever. So that's down. It's safe. Obviously, you know, that black screen thing was worrying. Never seen it before, and you know, it was just really not what I wanted to see. It was flying perfectly along the cliffs, and I was only up for 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes at max. You know, so yeah, the new firmware update has been done. Put a faster card in it, so hopefully it's now completely gone. And you know, hopefully it will run properly now, and we have no more issues. But I'm going to try it out tomorrow morning and see what it will do, and hopefully it won't cause any more issues. Like I said, I'm not going to fly over the sea to try it, but we shall see if I can get it to behave and make sure it's all cool. So by the sounds of it, by looking at some of the other YouTuber guys, they're not really having any issues at all. I don't know if it was temperature related. It was quite a warm day, so it maybe have caused part of the problem, but I don't know. Anyway, leave some comments below if you've had a similar issue. The new firmware should have fixed any issues like this happening again. But don't forget to click the subscribe button, little notification bell as well, and I shall see you soon.